I'm going to start laughing during this.
Let's go.
This is not good. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the very first episode ever of the 40 Before Noon podcast, where we drink 40s and talk about things that are going on the internet. Zoo, would we like to do the honors?
Cheers.
Bro, I'm not going to be able to open it. No, I knew it was going to be a tight one.
Come on.
I got it. Zoo, what are you enjoying today?
Boys, I'm bringing you today the Old English Classic 40 from Canada. All my Canadians know we don't really have many options. Malt liquor. Tastes like piss, but, it gets the job done.
Fair enough. I have I'm rocking the Mickeys. I can't believe that you guys actually have Old English out there. My friend, and I don't think I've ever told you this, I decided to save it for the podcast. My friend wrote like a 2-page email to all of the malt liquor companies when they decided to go from glass to plastic, and we boycotted it for 2 years. So we're happy to be back.
If you drink malt liquor in a plastic bottle, something's wrong.
There's something really wrong. Okay, so the whole idea, like we mentioned, of this podcast is the fact that my camera's out of focus. The whole idea of this podcast is basically that we're just going to be talking about things going on in the internet, and the biggest thing going on in the internet right now is Jake Paul, Ben Askren. What do we think about it, Zoo?
I want to come in with an open mindset because thing is, I do really dislike Jake Paul. I'm a Team KSI guy. I'm a Sidemen fan, always been. So I don't like the guy that much. But as a sports fan, this one's tough. It's a toss-up. There's a lot of things. I'm hoping Ben Askren, though. That's definitely my pick. I want Ben Askren to win, for sure.
Yeah, I think we should maybe start it off a little bit, rewind it a bit. Did you think that Gibb was going to beat Jake Paul when they fought, or did you think Jake was going to win that?
Honestly, I did think Jake had an advantage. I don't know why. I had a feeling that Anderson Gibb was just a bit, he had all the potential, but I think the nerves were just huge to him, I think, for sure. I
think so as well. I think what's kind of crazy about all of this, too, is the fact that every single fight that Jake Paul takes, everybody's like, oh, his career's over. His career's over if he loses it. You know what I mean? So he almost has that little edge where he has to win, and he knows he has to win. So maybe that just gets you to train that much harder. And we just watched the weigh-in as well with Ben Askren. He's coming off a hip thing, but he didn't necessarily look in the greatest shape. And I'm just saying that in the nicest way I possibly can.
He had a bit of a dad bod on him. He looked like he's been doing this podcast for years, is what he looked like, if I'm being honest. He had a few 40s.
I think he does. He podcasts, though, too, doesn't he? He podcasts and he coaches wrestling at, one of his academies.
He's been on, probably in the last month, I bet Ben Askren has been on over 50 podcasts. He's milking this in the best way possible, where he is just cashing in. Which is really why I respect it so much, because this guy has said he doesn't give really a single shit if he wins or loses. This is the biggest payday of his career, and he's doing it. He's relevant, and a lot of people are hopping on the train. He's a nice guy. He's a likable guy, very likable guy.
What blows my mind about him, and I don't really watch fights all that often or anything. For me, I literally just watch the YouTube fights and people that I kind of know in the industry and stuff. He is so, is it normal for people to be that calm, during everything? He doesn't crack a smile. He doesn't, he stays like a statue the whole time.
Yeah. I wonder if, I've been thinking a bit of it is just because he is a retired fighter. At the end of the day, he's already been through all this. I mean, he's, 30, 36?
Yeah, he's old.
So it's he's not a guy who's completely in his prime and, knows he needs to fight for his career. He's good, and this is that's why I think it's annoying Jake Paul how calm he is, and I think it's gonna affect the fight completely.
Because I watched all the press conferences with Deji, and I watched everything with Gibb and stuff too, and you could tell that Jake Paul dominated the majority of those. I think he was so far in people's head before the fight even happened. With Gibb, I swear he just kept saying, why are you stuttering? Why are you stuttering? Why are you stuttering? I don't know if there's a clip of that there. I'm sure there has to be. But you could tell that, Gibb was a bit nervous. I don't know. It's a huge difference, I think. Jake Paul, he's a YouTuber, right? But he's been on Disney Channel for how long he was, not the craziest show. But there's a huge difference between, being able to perform with the production team behind you and like in front of you, with cameras all over the place versus sitting in your room making videos, So that's why I kind of think a lot of people crumble under pressure when they have like an actual live audience versus their one camera that they can do a million takes on,
Yeah, 100%. That's why I think like he can't say the same thing about Ben Askren. He hasn't, like Ben Askren's literally fought in front of crowds for years. He's not a YouTuber this time. And he that's why when it's YouTube, I think.
Yeah.
Like he's always going to be the one to get in the head. But he can't do it with Ben Askren. The guy is unbreakable.
But Ben's not scared. I think that's literally what it is that Ben, like you said, was already retired.
Yeah.
Doesn't care win or lose. I've watched, and I know you have too, I've watched pretty much every single podcast that he's been on. Channels that I have never heard of in my entire life have all been popping up. And in every single one of them, he says the same exact thing. He goes, if Jake Paul is a good boxer, I'm going to lose. But he goes, I just don't think he's a good boxer.
Yeah.
He doesn't, and did you watch The Impulsive with him?
Yeah,
with
I
Logan
watched the whole one. I watched the whole
one. Bro, they're all like, dude, Ben, sell the fight.
I know.
Sell the fight. He's like, no, man. And I watched another one. I think it was the video that comes out like one day before the weigh-in or whatever. And he's like, I've gained a lot of followers, like I'm in the spotlight. He goes, I think people just like that I'm real.
Literally, I think that's it. I mean, Logan Paul tried getting into Ben Askren's head on his podcast. You could see Logan Paul trying to, back his brother. But by the end of the podcast, all those three guys, like Logan's other guys on the podcast, were all like, shit, dude, this guy's really likable. It's like, I don't,
they loved him.
Why? Yeah, it's like, why? I don't want to hate you. It's like, I can't hate you. And I think that's going to fuck Jake Paul up because all his last fights, it was like side versus side. It was, like all the UK back in Gib. All like, most people were back in Nate Robinson. Like a lot of NBA athletes backing him. And then this time it's like, it's just straight, like no one really hates Ben Askren. Like there's not many I don't see Jake Paul fans as much as you see people cheering against Jake Paul again. But that's always the case, right? Jake Paul's always going to be, he's the hated guy. That's just the story, I guess.
What I was told, though, because M-Bone watches a lot of the UFC, and for those of you guys maybe just tune in for the first time, M-Bone's my roommate that does a sports channel. He told me that Ben Askren was almost one of the most hated people in the UFC, though. And I don't know for what exact reasons. Maybe it's because he's a troll. I've watched some videos where he kind of talks back and stuff like that. But he said it, I think, in the very first press conference that him and Jake did. He's like, dude, I was the heel of the UFC. He goes, you're saying that there's 50% of people want you to win, 50% want you to lose? He's like, dude, it has to be 90% want you to lose.
So. I think 100%.
And that's the thing that blows my mind with all of it too, right? Is that, let's be honest, the majority of people that do YouTube, that have a load of money, can be pricks. That's 100%. Just any industry. If you have a lot of money, if you're successful, if you have girls around you, you can be an absolute prick. But that's the thing for me is I don't know if, how you're saying all these other NBA athletes got behind Nate Robinson and stuff. I don't know if it's the fact that they've ever really watched Jake Paul or they know Jake Paul or stuff like that, or it's the fact that people just hate that he's making so much money because of his name. I don't know if that's it.
Yeah, it's it literally seems like it's Jake Paul. The only people who are on his side are some 12-year-olds, his family, and friends. That's all it seems. That's all you see. And you're right. I have a few friends who are totally into UFC, and they said Ben Askren was he wasn't ever a huge name, but he wasn't liked. Because he likes to dump people down, which he's good at because he's really smart from what I've seen, So, and I think weirdly it's he was not really a huge fan favorite in the UFC yet. Now since it's Jake Paul, the whole entire UFC is behind Ben Askren. Dana White put $1 million on him, and Ben Askren has talked about that. He wasn't even he didn't have a great relationship with Dana White at all. He said Dana White was never really a fan of his. But then he's even backing him just because no one wants to see Jake Paul win. And I know you said it. You like the idea that it's you want to see how far he goes. you want to see. And like I agree, I get that. And it's entertaining. I mean, he's doing something that's never really been done to this level, which I will give Jake Paul complete credit for that.
Yeah, it is. And what's crazy to me too is how you're saying that the UFC community is like completely behind Ben Askren. Bro, the entire boxing community is behind Ben Askren.
That's what I mean.
They're all pissed.
No one wants to be behind Jake.
I watched the Mayweather channel. I think it's Jeff Mayweather who runs the channel out of I think it's Las Vegas is where
probably,
they do the camp.
I'd guess so. It's Vegas where the Mayweather
and
is.
He went through, and I watched it the other day of him interviewing just really quickly, like 10 dudes that work out there.
Yeah. And
of course, like 4 of them were like, who? And then the other 6 were like, man, I'm so mad. Like, this is such a joke. And the reality is, and I maybe go a little off topic with this right now, but Jake was talking about it with Ryan Garcia, and he's like, you're going to be one of, like, the biggest prize fighters. So maybe he didn't say it exactly, but it's what he meant. He said nobody in the boxing space is doing the social media stuff and doing everything to get their name kind of valued a bit more. Yep. You know, I don't know anything about boxing, dude. I know Ryan Garcia because he's been on 12 different YouTube channels that I watch, you know? So that for me, they say that boxing was kind of a dead sport beforehand, and I never really watched it unless it was like Mayweather or Pacquiao or any of like the huge fights that would just be on.
Names.
Hey, yeah, at the party that you were going to that night, you know? So they said the sport needed to be revived, and from somebody from the outside that had no interest in the sport ever, it's got my interest now. And I watched the fights before, and you become a little bit of a fan of the people before too. And that's like if I'm a boxer, man, I'm trying to get on the undercard for this. I don't, dude.
Oh,
shove my pride to the side. I'm going right on the undercard and just picking up maybe a few more fans, you know, and doing what I can.
KSI, Logan Paul, I remember. I don't know if you remember. Did you watch the whole thing? I'm guessing, most likely.
Yeah, I watched both of them.
And I remember on one of the undercards, there's these two it was a slugfest, and they were saying it was like a B-Tech KSI and Logan Paul fighting each other.
Yeah, exactly. I remember that.
It became a meme. It was all over Twitter. Those guys got all that probably publicity and stuff from just being on the undercard, and they were nobodies before. I couldn't even really tell you their name now, but I bet after that night, even just being on the undercard with 2 YouTubers, their careers probably blew up bigger than they've ever probably been. I don't know. I could be wrong. I should probably search up who these guys are because I feel bad for not knowing their names. But I still remember.
Maybe they didn't blow up that much.
I remember the KSI Logan fight, and then I remember that fight. You know what I mean?
They said, that's the craziest part, and I think I remember this properly, is that they said that fight, like you said, it was like the B-Tech, Logan Paul, KSI, whatever. That fight was, I don't know what it's called in boxing, but it was almost like a fill-in because the other fights went too fast. Like, it was up in the air whether or not they were even going to fight. And, of course, they get the fight right before them. So, dude, why? I don't know. Why not? If you're a fighter.
100%. But then again, I think there's also a factor where you got boxers who've been training years, trying to get these big contracts. And then you see some YouTuber kid just get millions and be the main card on like these fight. I get why I think some boxers would be upset for sure. Because it's like, well, I've been training for this, blah, blah, blah. I'm a way better fighter than both these guys. And a former UFC who's never boxed and a YouTuber are getting millions on a main card with all these fights. Like, would it not, like, what do you think? Would that not annoy you, do you think? If you've been like grinding for years at a sport, and then you see some guys just kind of like get a free pass, basically.
No, I think what it comes down to is that, because I mean, there's a lot of boxers that have come out and said, they're helping the sport, they're bringing a lot more eyes to the sport, and then there's ones that, in the nicest way I can say this, we have no idea who the hell they are, and they're the ones complaining, and it's kind of like you almost, I don't know how to even describe it. It's like any show that like Celebrity Cook-Off or something like that, right? Where somebody's already proven themselves.
Yeah.
Like they have exceeded everybody at everything, in that industry. And basically you jump to another industry, and that's how it works. And for me, if these guys haven't, excelled crazy in the boxing community, I don't know what. It sucks because obviously they train. They're fighters. They know what they're doing, but you haven't become the best at what you do. And as much as everybody, maybe doesn't like Jake Paul or Logan Paul or any of them, they were the best at what they did. And everybody else wants like a piece of their pie now, and that's how I look at it.
It's true. I mean, you got to give them credit. Like, I mean, it's crazy because everyone has talked about the butterfly effect, how this basically all started because of Joe Weller and his buddy Malfoy, Theo Baker, fighting in a freaking for fun. None of this would have happened at all, which is insane. And you got to be like, well, what is Jake Paul and Logan Paul supposed to do? They know that if they go and do this boxing, they're guaranteed millions, publicity, all of this. And that's why when people are like, oh, well, they don't deserve this. I've been doing this for years. But then again, it's like, well, man, you don't have the same following. And
that's the internet nowadays.
Exactly.
Everything.
That's the internet. That's the internet.
Everything is literally the number that you have behind your name. And that's the only value you have. It's wild.
It does suck because, of course, like, who knows? There could be, in any type of sport, guys out there who just didn't get the pair of eyes to see them that would change their lives. You know what I mean? Like, there could have been crazy boxers out there.
Bro, there's hundreds of boxers that could have gone on this card that would have been way more entertaining fights. It's just the reality is nobody cares to see it,
I would rather watch
it's the sad
YouTubers
truth
than to watch, which sucks, because Ryan Garcia, crazy fighter.
Yeah.
And he does make any fight he does exciting. But if I had to choose between watching Jake Paul and Ben Askren, then let's say Ryan Garcia and like another...
Even a championship fight.
I'm taking the Jake Paul fight. I would rather watch a Jake Paul fight.
And it's dumb because there's going to be people out there, and rightfully so, that are going to be like, oh, well, like, I'd only watch real boxers. This is such a joke, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
But for me, and the thing that it screams to me every single time I hear anything like that is just people are mad that they aren't making the type of money that these people are. And you can't just sit back, and just enjoy it and have a laugh, whatever, I don't think anybody is, I don't even know how to describe it. I think there's a lot of people that don't like Jake Paul, but I don't think there's a lot of people that are going to be really upset if Jake Paul wins because it's just going to be another fight.
Me too.
I
completely agree because I'm just thinking, I'm like, okay, if he does win, am I going to be upset? Yes, because obviously it's going to go to his head. He's going to pull out more antics, blah, blah, blah. But I honestly think, and this is my honest opinion, do you think there is a chance? And personally, I am leaning more towards 100% there's a great chance. I could see Jake Paul fighting Conor McGregor. If he was to win this fight and maybe win one more,
I think like 3 or 4 more against like legitimate people though. But there's the whole thing, dude, like risk versus reward. Why in God's name would McGregor even risk it if there's like a 1% chance?
But I generally think if it was to happen, I don't know how it wouldn't be like top 3 pay-per-views, money making ever. Because I mean, what didn't the Nate Robinson fight? It's top 10 in pay-per-views.
Yeah, it's like number eight ever or something like that.
That was terrible. It wasn't a good fight. So this one will beat that, I think, easily, 100%. And it's like, well,
I think so.
McGregor, like let's say McGregor, like I don't know if you're not in the UFC, but he just lost, and now he's fighting. He has scheduled another fight, so it's a part 3. I think if McGregor loses, I think first of all his career is just gonna plummet because he was the main ticket, but then it's like, oh, he's actually getting old, like he's actually slowing down a bit. Why wouldn't he take a freaking millions to fight some YouTuber kid? And I think I would think McGregor should win, but you're right, the risk, like if he loses, McGregor can never show his face anywhere ever again.
No.
Ever. But that's like, it's tough.
At that point, what's funny is at that point, if you're McGregor, you're hoping that Jake Paul wins every single fight after you at that point. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The loss to Jake Paul isn't nearly as bad as it was when it actually happened versus like 3 years down the road from there or something like that. That's, I don't know. It's the same thing with like even KSI. Like, why in God's name would KSI ever go fight Jake Paul now?
Yeah, I'm now huge KSI fan. Love the guy. I think Jake Paul would beat the shit out of KSI.
I'm with you. And it's solely off the fact that if KSI trains...
He's boxing more. That's
exactly. If KSI had trained just as much as Jake Paul, I think KSI wins. But dude, KSI even came out and said it. He goes, "I gave Jake a chance 3 years ago, and he ducked me."
That is very true. He wanted to fight.
He's like,
Jake
"Oh, you're
early.
not popping. You're not popping."
Yeah.
It's like, all right, congratulations, you had your chance, and then boom, Logan took the chance, which Logan also needed it, with all the stuff that was going on in his career to kind of flip the script. But yeah, if I'm KSI, I'm not taking the fight.
No,
I don't know what your
100%. And I think it's starting to be like, I think the whole Jake Paul versus KSI, I don't think it's gonna happen. Personally, I don't think so. I don't think so because, first of all, KSI's riding off. He did beat Logan, so why would he need to get he won? He could leave the sport as a winner. He won. He did it. He started it pretty much. He blew it up. Why go fight the younger brother? Most likely get your ass beat, and then you're like, okay, well, why did I do that? Now I feel like I wasted all that effort. But I think if you take Jake Paul versus even Gibb versus the KSI versus Logan, I think KSI would win. I could be wrong. I don't know what you think though.
Yeah, I don't know too much about boxing or anything, but I'd assume so. It'd be hard not to because even think about it, from the get-go, we were hearing oh, Jake Paul, Logan Paul, any one of them. In the back of our minds, we're hoping KSI's taking Jake Paul because you're thinking Logan. I
like Logan. I actually am a Logan Paul fan.
I do too.
He's a cool
I do
guy.
too. But I went into that whole thing, right? The first KSI Logan. I thought KSI was gonna get absolutely peppered.
100%.
Peppered.
Me too. 100%. I was so nervous. I thought he was done for.
Even after the first fight, going into the second fight, I thought KSI was gonna get peppered again. Yeah,
promise.
Because I think Logan only had 3 months to train before the first one, and the only problem was that he gassed out. And then in the second one, I was like, holy crap, this dude's had a year.
Yeah. And
you look at everything Logan Paul's done, whether or not you like him, dislike him, he's good at everything. His music is good.
Very talented.
The music he's done is good. Some of them obviously questionable, but it's YouTube stuff. Mm-hmm. His music's good. His videos are good. His everything he does is good. And he was an unbelievable athlete beforehand. Where same thing, I guess, with Joe Weller versus KSI. Nobody thought KSI had a chance in hell against Weller. Because Weller was an athlete and KSI wasn't. But
he's a nerd.
It goes to show as well. Yeah, dude, it goes to show as well that anything that KSI puts his mind to, dude, he does. And I have so much respect for that.
You know what's crazy for me? This is why I'm such a big KSI fan. Logan Paul versus KSI too. I bet $100 on KSI to win. That's how I was like.
Really?
I swear to God. And with my winnings, I bought a freaking KSI hoodie because I was like, this guy just won me money because I backed him. He is.
What were the odds on it?
Oh, I think it paid. So I paid $100. I think it won 300. It was he was an underdog.
Yeah, he was underdog by a lot then. Yeah.
Yeah. So I went crazy when he won. I was hyped. The thing with KSI, even I think. I've thought this. Call me stupid. I could be completely wrong. Even if Jake Paul fought KSI, let's say in a year from now, and KSI trained like crazy, is it just me or could KSI not get into his head? Still, somehow.
KSI's so good at it. He's so good at it.
He's
so good.
And he is KSI genuinely convinces himself that he is not able to lose ever. He is so egotistic. That's the thing. And I don't know. Even though Jake should easily beat him on paper, I could see him losing to KSI just because KSI's he's an animal. He's not gonna quit.
You know what's kind of crazy about KSI? That, like you just said, he's egotistic, whatever.
Yeah.
He has so much confidence in himself, and he knows he's the man. He is.
He does.
It's wild to me, especially in this day and age with cancel culture, all that crap going on. He's never really screwed up, ever.
No, he's never really been canceled or anything. The one main thing I think that people go back to is when KSI had the whole leaving the Sidemen and the whole creature.
But dude, that was literally all of that, bro. Was a setup.
Yeah, but there's a time. Do you remember when he released the creature and he was off YouTube for 7-8 months?
Yeah, for a while.
He took a huge hiatus because he kind of supposedly kind of lost his mind a bit. That was the one time where I was that was the most distant I've seen KSI. I was like, is this guy okay? I was like, I don't. But other than that, you're right. It's he's consistently still been
Nobody hated him. Nobody hated him. Everybody was just like, where did he go?
Yeah, everyone's
That's
like,
all it
okay,
was.
just kind of pieced out, but it's like, yeah, I don't know. What do you think? So one thing I wanted to ask you is, do you have a dream influencer fight? Anyone, so celebrity, artist,
Ooh.
anything. I know it's a
That's
crazy
tough.
question.
Holy crap.
Anybody in the world.
Oh, I don't know. It's tough, dude, because some YouTubers are so much more athletic than other YouTubers, you know?
100%, you could tell the difference. But I'm saying, like, even celebrities, like, huge music artists. You know what comes to mind is when Justin Bieber called out Tom Cruise. Did you ever see, see that?
Yeah, I did see that.
He just tweeted out Tom Cruise, like, me, you, boxing fight, let's do it.
Justin Bieber gets peppered by, like, a 50-year-old Tom Cruise.
Oh, I know. But, like, you think, like, that would be awesome. I would love to see that fight. Because Bieber's, like, he's in shape. Like, the guy works out all the time. But the thing is, it's Tom Cruise. The guy's freaking Mission Impossible. It's like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of, like, a solid matchup. Artist or something.
But you know what would be kind of crazy? And I'm just thinking in the space of, like, YouTube and Twitch and stuff.
Yeah.
Could you ever see, and I don't know the height difference between them at all, but I assume they look like they have the same exact body type. At least they used to. Maybe not anymore. Could you imagine, like, a Ninja PewDiePie boxing match?
I've been thinking. I thought you were gonna say that.
Is that what you thought I was gonna say?
Yeah, I
thought they were the same
people,
body type.
Well, supposedly, and this
I think PewDiePie got big.
PewDiePie got ripped. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
that's
seeing
the thing,
pictures like this
Ninja-
guy's ripped now. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's the situation now.
Yeah, I remember people were bringing up Ninja and Tfue, and it's like, guys, like,
No.
Tfue's ripped too. I'm like, he would kill Ninja. But like, I mean, the thing is it's hard saying that I would want that as a dream fight, just because it's like those type of guys, and it's no credit, like discrediting them. They aren't like the more athletic builds, right? You know, at least like Logan, they used to do stuff as kids, blah blah. blah. Ninja's just a straight gamer. I'm thinking of like a fight where it's like they have the ability, but also just match up very well, and I can't really picture one.
Give me H3 and Keemstar. I want that one to happen.
Holy,
I'd pay for that. I'd pay for that.
Yeah, but the thing is, because you used to be freaking dead tired after two minutes into round one.
Yeah, it's true. This is a dumb question. I know we're going crazy off topic now too. Could you ever see Cristiano Ronaldo trying to box?
Ooh, Ronaldo. See, I totally forgot about like other athletes.
Yeah.
Oh, now you just gave me
He's got too good looking of a face, I think.
I think he wouldn't want to. I don't see him having that same type of like.
He's got to do something though after. Do you think he's gonna coach?
I think suppose he wants to be an actor. Is something I've seen.
He's got the face for it.
Well,
I'll tell you that.
You're telling me he could go to any production, say, "Hey, I'm Cristiano Ronaldo. Give me a role." They will find something. Even he could be the worst actor in the world. Millions of views. Who's gonna not want to see Ronaldo try and act? But now that you said that, I just thought of a crazy. I would love to see LeBron James. Who is someone who could match LeBron James in a boxing ring? Tell me that wouldn't be insane.
It just turns into, I guess, just how big the purse becomes for people to, make the jump to boxing and dedicate a few years or a year or two to it. Whether or not it's worth it, at the end of your career, why not? Like you said, Ben Askren, bro, end of his career, already retired, coaches a bunch of 12-year-old kids in wrestling now. Credit to him. I've never wrestled. I know it's tough.
Yeah.
But why not just take the money? And why don't other athletes just do it?
That's the thing. It's like I think people are like, oh, it's kind of annoying how Ben Askren doesn't care, but it's like, dude, like when you've become like a coveted athlete, Olympian, blah blah blah, you have a family, whatever, you're good. Why care so much about something like this? It's a literal just money. He got the most embarrassing knockout in UFC history, and the guy still seems pretty happy to me.
It's money, dude.
Yeah,
he knows. I think he's accomplished so much in his life that why would you let 5 seconds ruin it?
That's what I mean.
My opinion. Is it public? Just out of curiosity, is it public how much Nate Robinson made off of the Jake Paul fight?
Because
I thought Jake Paul came out and said he made like $10 million.
Supposedly, definitely Jake Paul did win. He got more of the payday, like 100%. Boxing. I would assume it was pretty like. Nate Robinson, who recently turned pro boxer in light heavyweight division, will earn $500K guaranteed money, and his earning will increase sum of $750K if the pay-per-view sales will exceed. So I'm guessing
I'm sure they did. Yeah, they had to have exceeded.
He made just probably under $1 million.
Or how did Jake Paul come out and say he made 10 mil?
I don't know. Did he?
I swear Jake Paul said that. Nate Robinson's shocking earnings from the KO to Jake Paul.
Would you take $750K to get knocked out in like the same by Jake Paul? Your meme. Would you do it?
Hell no, dude.
What?
Wait, you say $1 million?
So no, I'm saying like this. Let's just say like $750K, around that, $800K, to get knocked up by Jake Paul, and like you're all over Twitter.
No.
Really?
No.
I would.
Not if I'm Nate Robinson. If I'm a Joe Schmo, yes.
Okay, you're right.
Anybody
in
in their right mind, dude, would take a punch.
That's
you put
true.
I put one of my family members in there and make them take a punch as well.
Grandma's getting knocked out for $750K.
But
100%.
If you're Nate Robinson, you have this prolific of a career, why do you make the last thing people remember you from is getting slept by Jake Paul?
That's the thing,
and that's,
man.
Bro.
That's sad. That's sad.
You know what bro, the guy's NBA All-Star, 3-time slam dunk champion.
The thing is, like, Nate Robinson genuinely was remembered for being, like, height doesn't matter, this inspirational story. The guy, like, he was a freaking tiny player who made the NBA, was a crazy athlete. But now, for the next 20, like, whenever, that's all gone. It's completely gone. Whenever Nate Robinson would get brought up in conversation, no one is going to be like, oh, is he the guy who, like, blah, blah, blah. No, it's, oh, he got knocked out by Jake Paul.
Yep. They don't even, that's the worst part about it, is that in all the interviews that I've watched, they don't even remember his last name.
Oh, that's bad.
And it's because bad. It's, you probably see it too. Everyone, they're like Nate, and someone's like Robinson. And they're like, oh, yeah, the basketball guy.
The basketball
guy.
Like,
dude, the basketball guy. He's not a YouTube basketball dude.
You bring his name up to any, like, basketball fan, they know who Nate Robinson is.
They love him.
Yeah, he was like in a way, okay, I don't want to make it seem like I'm overhyping him, but in a way, he was a type of NBA legend. In a way, because there's no one really, like, ever, like, that size who, like, accomplished what he did. Like, in a way, he was something that the NBA's never seen before.
And that's what I'm saying.
And now it's just done.
Point,
it's over.
At what point is $750K worth it to you?
That's
to
true.
Ruin everything, to even risk ruining everything.
I agree. If I'm Nate Robinson, no, I wouldn't take $750K to get knocked out. If I'm myself right now, yeah, I would. I would get knocked out for $750 grand.
But that's the other thing as well, is that, and I know once again we're going off topic with all this, but I think a lot of people are terrible with money.
Oh yeah,
terrible. So $750K is like, oh yeah, F it, whatever, you know. I'll take my $750K, which in reality to NBA contracts nowadays,
it's not much.
No, obviously it's not the same. Bro, it's nothing, dude.
No, it's not much.
There's YouTubers that probably make 10 times that.
And the thing is, too,
it's like
Nate Robinson, he could have rode even after his career. You're telling me he couldn't get sorry, what's the word?
Endorsements, anything.
Yeah, endorsements, all of that, 100%. Now could he after getting knocked out? No.
Nope. What brand wants to put their name on that?
You think about it, how much money has he missed out on? Like, he made $750K. Great for him. But for, like, future-wise, I wonder how much money he's going to miss out on just from being the knockout meme. Because who's going to put him on commercial? No one.
No one, bro.
No one. Yeah.
It'll be a joke. Unless they're trying to make a joke about him. And he starts to, because everything kind of goes back to normal when you start joking about yourself.
Yeah, you have to ride.
I guess if that makes sense.
Accept the meme.
Like that's what Gibb did.
That's what Joe Weller
straight
did.
away.
And Joe Weller
straight
did the
away.
same thing.
Yeah. I don't know if Deji did. I can't remember.
Deji couldn't have done worse with the way he dealt with things.
Yeah,
if I'm being honest.
That's probably no.
I do like Deji too, but
I do too.
He was on YouTube talking about like a rematch with Jake Paul, and we're like, dude, like honestly, I watched him like Deji man, like let's be honest, man. There's no chance that it would happen, or you would ever have a chance.
Nope.
You just got to be like, you know what, dude, lost. Okay. Over.
And that's kind of the thing. Logan Paul, I think, responded perfectly.
Oh, he did. 100%.
Except the whole, like, he kind of, moaned about the 1 point deduction, whatever it was.
That was bad. That annoyed
which
me.
everybody made fun of that, right? Like, everybody did. Which, I'll be honest, man. If you fought for the last year and got the crap kicked out of you for an entire year to lose off a 1 point deduction, I'd moan as well. Like, there's no way I would not bring that up. Right?
Yeah.
But Logan came out of that fight better than when he went into it.
He did. He became a more likable person.
Way better. And I don't know if you saw that thing that came out recently. It was when, like, the last, 3 weeks or so, Logan Paul was talking about, he's like, he literally, like, on impulsive was like, thank you, KSI, for reviving my career. Like, thank you for giving me the opportunity. Because it was the exact change that he needed. Which is insane.
And it's crazy because you see Deji, like, after the Jake Paul fight, and, like, this is just facts. Like, you could look up his numbers. He completely went downhill.
Mm-hmm.
He had the whole beef with his own brother. He was losing subscribers. He had he was having breakdowns on videos. And it was like, dude, like, Deji, like, if you just would have, like, calmed down, accept that you lost, I bet none of that would have happened. But then you go back to Ben Askren. And it's
bro, here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. Does the whole everybody being upset with Deji start before the fight when you could clearly tell, and I'm not, once again, I don't like body shame or anything like that. You can clearly tell he made no effort going into the fight. And that pissed me off, personally.
It did.
When he went up there, bro, everybody looked at him. They're like, dude, what the heck, man? You had time. Well, what are you doing? You know what? And then KSI and all those guys come out the footage. They're like, dude. Afterwards, you're like, he came over here for a month or two, lived here, got pissed, left, didn't train, boom, done.
Yeah, and I think what everyone brings up too is that like he didn't train. He wasn't in good shape. He put up a decent fight against Jake.
He's the only one that made Jake Paul bleed out of anybody.
He sucked.
Yeah, awful.
I'll say this: Deji actually. He wasn't awful. Like, his form he seemed to have power and stuff. But it's like, dude, imagine if you actually trained like your brother did. You would have beat him. I think he would have easily beat Jake.
I think so, too.
That's when Jake was his worst.
Yep.
But you think about it again.
So.
Imagine Deji doesn't lose. We're not getting to have all this exciting new stuff coming. You know what I mean? So.
Yep.
But I hope Deji does win against the TikToker. I don't know who he's fighting. But
he looks, that's the thing. I watched that interview with Vidal, who was the dude who trained KSI. He said that Deji was more naturally gifted at boxing than KSI was.
I saw that. And KSI still says it. I've seen it in a KSI video where he's like, Deji is actually, he was better than me. Like, he has better technique and all of this. Because KSI knows his technique isn't great. He's wild, but the thing is, KSI he's a fighter. Like he will not stop. But yeah, I hope Deji takes this one serious because I do want to see Deji win because he's had a rough couple years. I hope he does get this one.
I think Deji's seen almost the repercussions of losing a fight.
Yeah,
and I hope that motivates him to win this fight because it's almost like. With each fight, obviously you make money initially off the fight. You make money off the whole build up to the fight. Mm-hmm. But the second you win that fight, whether or not there's a clause in your contract to you win extra money if you knock him out, you win this if you win whatever, right? Like you make this type of money, it guarantees you another fight. Mm-hmm. And that's all that it really is.
Hundreds
is that
of thousands or millions of dollars. That's what it guarantees.
And hundreds of thousands of new eyes that find you because you won that fight. And that's what it is. Do you think about, bro, if Jake Paul lost to Deji, Jake Paul's done forever ago.
Oh,
I think he's almost too stubborn that he would have not bounced back like Logan did. He would have been like, F this, whatever, I'm rich, yada, 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 I'm done.
I agree.
But that's what it is. With each one that happens, you keep going, you keep going, you keep going. One of the things I wanted to ask you was, if I can remember this right now, we're kind of through the 40, dude. I don't know how far you're down through the 40 right now. Yeah, I was just
going to say, what's your 40 check at? I'm about like halfway almost.
I'm below half
that's not
for
halfway.
sure.
Let me get a decent chug. Okay, I'll get a decent chug to go below halfway.
What was I going to say? So here's the thing with Jake Paul with me, right? Because I was watching an interview last night with Ben Askren where Ben said that he's carrying this entire fight. He said, in terms of the promotion, right? He basically said, and this is, let me explain all of it before I hear your opinion, because I have like a pretty strong opinion on this too.
Yeah.
But Ben basically was saying, he's like, dude, I carry all this fight. He goes, I've carried all the promotion. Go look at every YouTube channel that I've been on. He goes, it's the most viewed video that they have, or like one of the top 3. He goes, every single one of them. He goes, Jake Paul does an interview, 100,000 views. I do an interview, 1.2 million. He goes, I've carried this fight completely. Then flips to Jake Paul, and Jake Paul says, I put Ben in the spotlight. It's almost, the way that I see it, right, is that I think there's a lot of people our age, in between our age, older than me. Everybody knows who Jake Paul is. Whether or not you consume his content, different story.
My dad
I don't
knows
think
who
there's
Jake Paul is.
Exactly,
He's
but are you ever gonna catch your dad watching a Jake Paul vlog?
No.
There's no way, right? Everybody knows who Jake Paul is. Like, that name is a household name. Everybody knows him, yeah? And for me, what's kind of crazy is that when Jake Paul was fighting Gib, right? Mm-hmm. As much as I love Gib, I think he is so good at entertainment. I think he's incredible.
Great guy.
Gib, there's no shot Gib was going to benefit Jake Paul. There's literally no way.
No, at all.
Any person that was following Gib was not in their right mind ever going to be like, oh, I'm going to start rooting for Jake Paul, because there's the whole UK versus US thing on top of it, right? And I was, dude, gun-ho for Gib. Like I said, really like the guy, everything. What's crazy is almost, right, it hasn't seemed, and this could be naive because I look at people's channels and see how people are doing and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I watch Jake Paul's videos. I watch all the influencers' videos just because I want to see what's going on and stuff. And in a sense, as much as you hate people, or as much as I guess the internet hates people.
You want to be in the loop. You want to know what's going on.
You want to be in the loop. And it also, at the same time, you have to admire what they've accomplished.
100%.
Yeah? So each fight hasn't, in my opinion, which he says he doesn't really care about YouTube anymore, hasn't necessarily brought Jake Paul's viewership up, if that makes any sense.
I know what you mean.
There's not, how do I describe this? It's like, they say his average fan base is like 13 years old, which very believable, right? It's YouTube. It's everything's very young. There's not a million random 13-year-old kids that have never heard of Jake Paul tuning into Triller on a $50 pay-per-view card, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And regardless if Jake Paul wins, there's not going to be a bunch of 30 to 40 to 50-year-old men that are like, holy crap, this guy won. Let me go start watching him vlog at his house. It's almost in the situation where nobody cares unless he's fighting. And that's how I honestly feel. And I don't know if that's wrong to say, because obviously he gets millions of views. There's millions and millions and millions of people that care about this guy's life, right? But if your numbers aren't going up, I guess the only thing, you know what I mean? Yeah,
I get what you mean. I never really thought about it. It's like, because you're right. Like, it's crazy how much it's like, it's almost like people only tune in to see Jake lose. Mm-hmm. Okay, but then, he doesn't lose. No one's going to be like, okay, he won, so now let's go support him. No.
Let's go support this guy moving to Miami.
They're waiting until his next fight is scheduled so they could cheer for the other guy. That's what it is. And, like, I know, I've never thought about it that way, but it's right, because Jake Paul's numbers, they've still not really gone up at all. I bet if you compared him to KSI still, let's just say example, who hasn't fought for a while, whatever, his YouTube numbers are probably still better than Jake, and he has been the talk of a lot of stuff in the last few months.
That's the thing for me, is like, Jake Paul at this point And Jake, as much as people think Jake Paul is an idiot, dude, he's smart.
Of course.
He's smart. He knows what he's doing.
He's a millionaire. You're smart. You're not a millionaire if you're dumb. It's just.
You don't get to that level of fame doing things because just dumb luck.
Exactly.
That's not how it works. So what Jake Paul is basically banking on now, in my opinion, what he would have to be, because like I said, his YouTube numbers aren't going up.
Yeah.
Right? Like, nobody 30, 40, 50-year-old men are going to be like, hey, Jake Paul won. Let me go see him move to Miami. Nobody cares.
No one cares.
No one does, yeah? So, for me, my opinion is that Jake Paul is basically banking on, like, the rest, because God forbid the guy went back to YouTube. I have to disclaim all this stuff because I don't want to sound like a dickhead, right?
That's the
He goes back to YouTube and he actually tries YouTube again, 30 mil. Like, he'll fly. He'll fly because he knows what he's doing. But basically what I think he's banking on now is each pay-per-view has more sales than the last one. And that's how his career keeps going.
Oh.
The second the pay-per-views start dropping, which one fight is a loss, even then, I think Jake Paul could take a crazy loss to Ben Askren and fight somebody.
But look at Logan,
fight somebody that wants a payday. Yeah.
Look at Logan.
Boom.
He went from losing to KSI.
To
Mayweather. How is that possible?
Logan's also popping, though, on YouTube.
Of course. He's popping on YouTube. But, however, it's like, boxing-wise, I'm not going to lie. After Case, I was like, oh, he's done in the boxing world. But his YouTube is great.
Yeah.
His YouTube's great. I enjoy his YouTube. So how can Jake be popping in more boxing than YouTube, lose to Ben Askren, and not get a fight, maybe not Mayweather level, but, like, at least someone pretty big? Like, he easily could, because I would love to see it again. They all know.
They all know it's a payday.
Narrative.
Every single one of them know it's a payday.
Yeah, exactly. And narrative is like this. Okay, so Jake lost. Let's see how he is after a loss. So let's see if he can bounce back and beat someone else. I would want to see it still. I'm still watching. I am still watching Jake Paul fight again, even if he loses tomorrow. 100%.
I think it would take like 2 or 3 fights in order for him to. Nobody cares anymore. Like, it would take 2 or 3 losses, but. They're the Pauls, dude. The second they do something wrong, something they do wrong 2 or 3 times, they go to the next thing and do it right for as much as, as long as they can. And I think, and I was talking about this on my stream the other night, I think Logan and Jake are almost like perfect for WWE. And it sounds dumb, but
no,
the villains,
I know what you mean.
The villain sells. The villain sells so hard.
Look, Logan was on WWE freaking 2 nights ago.
He was at WrestleMania.
WrestleMania, man. This guy's on WrestleMania. This guy was a Viner from Ohio. I don't know how they do it, and I give them full credit because I would love to be in their positions. But it's like, I don't know, man. It's hard for them to technically lose in a way, as much as I dislike them, because they're always will find something new.
I think it was Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia said that. He said they are so good at, and once again, I'll mess up the words of this, but basically adapting to whatever they want to do. They're innovators in almost everything, which, once again, Joe Weller, Theo Baker were the innovators of this, but they saw an opportunity. They capitalized on the opportunity. Obviously, Logan lost, whatever. But everybody, dude, no one really even cares. It sounds dumb with boxing, bro, but if you don't get knocked out, I feel like nobody cares.
Yeah,
like,
I
you
agree.
Can't become a meme. You can't become a meme.
If I'm like, okay, so personal prediction, what do you think is genuinely going to happen tomorrow? Like, what are you expecting tomorrow?
Bro.
Honest opinion.
Dead honest, like, if I had to bet my house on it, yeah?
Yeah, like, full life on the line, what are you going to say?
I think Jake Paul wins, but I don't think it's pretty at all. I think I really don't think, and God forbid, unless, we saw Ben Askren in the pads and stuff, right?
He looked better.
Wait, better, but, I mean, if Ben Askren really doesn't play defense, then, yeah, it could get ugly, right? But I think it's going to be the longest fight that Jake has. I think Jake's going to gas a bit, because he hasn't really he hasn't been tested, man. I'm sure he's been tested in sparring, right? Like, you have to, like.
You have
but I also saw something say that Jake Paul's never lost a sparring match, and like 90 people. Bro, why would you not put somebody in there to beat the shit out of him? Why would you not?
Well, you think it's true that he actually hasn't lost a sparring match?
He said that.
That's true, but it's Jake
Bro,
Paul.
what 90 people, bro? How does not one person pepper him once?
But that's what I mean. Like, you're really going to believe Jake? Like, what is he going to say? Oh, yeah, I've gotten knocked out. Like, it's Jake Paul, you know what I mean? Like, I don't expect him to say that he's been
But okay, maybe
out.
he has and he just didn't say it, yeah? But you'd hope that he got his ass handed to him at least once.
But why?
So he knows what it feels like.
Because the thing is, that's the thing.
You think Jake Paul? Yeah, you think Jake Paul's paying anybody to beat him up? Hell no.
Like, no chance. And it's like, that's why it's like Ben Askren has actually gotten beat the shit out of him.
That's why he's sitting there smiling.
Exactly. Everyone's bringing up that one fight where Ben Askren literally gets picked up, thrown on the ground. He's knocked out. I don't know why the ref didn't stop the fight. And he was like out cold. Ben Askren won the fight. Somehow. He got revived and freaking was like, somehow beat this guy and won. And you're telling me it's like, I don't know, I don't see a YouTuber who's boxed for 2 years knocking him out. I don't see it. And my honest prediction, it's going to go decision. Either way.
Yeah,
I think 100%. I don't think there's any chance of anyone being knocked down, let alone knocked out. I don't think there's any chance because they're both. Ben Askren can take a punch easily.
He's too smart. He's too smart as well to know what he can do and know what he can't.
Exactly. Like he knows what he can take, and he just knows if he goes and defends well enough and lands a few hits, he can win by decision. And if he loses by decision, who cares? I'm not really gonna care. No one's.
He's not a meme.
Yeah, you can't meme a guy for losing by decision. Even
against,
Logan Paul,
like after boxing for 12 weeks versus boxing for 3 years. Yeah.
KSI fans tried to meme Logan Paul, but honestly, it didn't really work. It was like, okay, KSI won. Yeah. Let's go. Like, Logan took an L, but it's like, it wasn't really a big deal. Like, it was like, okay, he lost, but like, he stood on his feet the whole time. So whatever.
What I think is that, and once again, I'm not huge on boxing or fighting or anything like that, but if it goes to a decision, in my opinion, most of the time, it could have gone either way. So how can you meme somebody that hard if it comes down to, like 1 point here, 1 point, you know what I mean? There's almost like too much up in the air that you can't really meme somebody. You can meme somebody if they're knocked down on the ground. You can meme Gibb because he fell over 3 times.
Yeah, the crab meme was going on, whatever, and then Nate Robson's just out cold on the ground. So it's like.
And in fairness with Deji, I don't think Deji got memed that hard. I think there's more people are disappointed that Deji didn't try. That's what it was.
Joe Weller got TKO'd, and he didn't really get memed that hard either.
Nope.
At all.
And now look at him, bro. He's popping again, dude. It's all about how you bounce back. That's all it is. It's all about how you bounce back. Ben Askren wins this fight. Do you think he boxes again? If the money's right.
Well, on Impulsive, he did say he would. He did say if he beats Jake, he said he wanted to fight Logan. That's what he said. And honestly,
he knows the next stepping ladder.
Yeah, yep. I think he would because Ben Askren literally just cares about the check. That's all he wants. And I think it wouldn't make sense for him to beat Jake Paul and just stop. Because it's like, okay, man, you beat Jake Paul. You go fight someone better and probably lose, but you're going to make money, so why not? And he would. I think he would.
Question here, yeah? Tomorrow. Say we had the decision tomorrow to make, yeah? Mm-hmm. And this is where the whole, him fighting with Logan thing in my head is kind of up in the air. If you had to see Ben Askren fight either Jake or Logan tomorrow, and you could only tune into one of them, who are you watching?
Oh, Ben versus Jake.
Jake. That's 100% that for me, too. But that's the thing. Do you think that him fighting Logan Paul is almost a little less entertaining?
It is, because here's the thing. The hatred isn't there. And that's a fact.
Honestly, you couldn't have said any better. I agree. There's no hatred towards Logan.
And my opinion too is that I think just because of size, even though I think Jake's a better boxer, I would if it was Ben versus Logan and Ben versus Jake, honestly, which may sound crazy, I think Logan would have a better chance of winning than Jake. Which is just complete size base. Because it's like, okay, Logan's
That's all
huge.
It was with KSI, too.
Exactly.
That's all we thought with KSI as well.
That's what we thought was KSI, yeah, 100%. But the thing is now is that, Okay, but let's just also factor in that if Logan's been training the way Jake has, this is what Logan would be 3 years of boxing, around that, I think.
Do you know what the height difference is? I just looked it up right now. Do you know what the height difference is between Logan and Jake?
I'm gonna guess like 3 inches.
5.
5.
Or maybe 4. 4 inches. 4 inches. Yeah, 4.
Yeah, I mean,
Jake Paul's 5'10". But I don't know if this is right, man.
You know,
Jake
that's
Paul
the thing. Height with celebrities is usually, I'm never really sure.
a bit skewed. skewed.
I think it's always a bit skewed.
Because it says Ben Askren's 5'11". It says Jake Paul's 5'10". Logan's 6'2".
We just watched the
I think Logan's taller than that.
Me too. I would assume Logan is that. Bro,
6'4".
Honest opinion, like, I am 6'1". You're telling me Logan Paul is only 2 inches taller than me? No chance.
An inch.
Oh, an inch. Yeah, no chance.
Yeah.
This guy, when I look at him on video and stuff, I'm like, he looks like he would tower over me.
He's a big boy,
yeah.
isn't he?
So, I don't know. I want to know about that. But I think just height-wise, Logan would have a better chance of beating Ben. But that's why I'm so, like, in the middle with this one. Because it's like, Jake Paul and Ben Askren, they look... maybe an inch separates them. Maybe.
This other article I'm reading right now says that Jake Paul's 6'1".
No chance. No chance that guy's 6 feet.
According to BoxRec, Jake Paul's 6'1", Ben Askren's 5'11". The reach difference between the two of them is about 4 inches in favor of Jake Paul. I
don't know about that.
Ben Askren, he's too smart, dude, to really screw this up.
He is.
He's been in... Bro, there's a difference between people that, wrestled in high school. There's a difference between people that wrestled in college. And there's a difference between a Division I NCAA champion that knew how to beat every single other person in the country. Every single one of them.
Yeah.
Twice.
And then he goes to the UFC and gets punched out by horrendously, like,
Dog,
crazy guys.
that knee to the head, dude, is the most, like, fluke. Oh. You know what I mean? Like, bro, it could have happened to anybody. He said
anybody.
Anyone in the world. They said the second you lean forward, you're done.
Yep.
And that's it. Bro, who in 5 seconds is not leaning forward? Come on.
That's what I mean, man. It's just like everyone's saying, but it's like, really though, how can you see Ben Askren getting knocked out by a YouTuber? Like,
he went devil's advocate. Ben Askren gets knocked out in the first round. What happens to his career?
I was just gonna say, okay, if Ben Askren gets knocked out cold, he will be a meme, 100%. And I don't think he'll ever box again. I think he'll go away completely.
Are there still? My question. Are there still 10 to 13-year-old kids that sign up for his wrestling camp at that point? Or do they sign up because they're 10 to 13-year-old kids like, oh, it's Ben Askren, I want to meet him?
But that's the thing. Ben Askren's built a name now. Ben Askren's going to be...
Like, I wonder. We should look at his social blade. We, honest to God, should look at his social blade.
You should.
And see how much he's gone up.
Oh,
do you know exactly what his... Do you know what his Twitter is?
Like his Twitter name?
Yeah, like his Twitter @. His name's like Funky Ben or something like that, I want to say.
Let's see. Like you search him up and he's trending.
I think it's like Funky or something.
It's just
like
Ben at Ben Askren, but it's Funky is his name. He's almost at 500,000 followers.
Followers in the last 30 days, 51,000 brand new followers in 30 days, right?
Yeah.
On Twitter, I wonder what it is on Instagram because he posted a really funny video on Instagram that I was enjoying. Do you know what his Instagram is? I can look it up here as well. Take a look at this. Ben Askren. It's the same exact thing, isn't it? ASKREN. 868,000 followers. Ben Askren on Instagram. Ooh, it doesn't have any of the things. I can't see the metrics. I don't know if you can see them.
Well, he started YouTube too, right? Didn't he?
I don't know if he did.
I'm pretty sure he started doing a vlog of his, like, this training and stuff. Because I remember I saw when I was watching The Impulsive, he had this whole crew, like, following him in. And I think he's like,
Maybe.
I'm telling you, man, he is a genius in the way that he is completely milking this in the best way.
He knows what he's doing, bro. Which anybody would be dumb not to. Why did Nate Robinson not capitalize off of this?
He didn't. If I'm being honest,
at all.
I didn't really like. I knew the fight was happening for a while between Nate Robinson and Jake Paul, but honestly, it was never like this. I was never this much into it because I didn't see Nate Robinson post shit, and there wasn't really a hatred at all. There wasn't, because it was like
you said it so perfectly. You said it so perfectly earlier that nobody hates Logan. There has to be somebody who's hated in order for something to happen. Like, dude, think about like Mayweather Pacquiao. Everybody hated the other side of it. Whoever you're rooting for, it wasn't like, oh, they're fighting Pacquiao. It's like, fuck Pacquiao. You know what I mean? Or fuck Mayweather. All that shit, bro. That's what it was, dude. Mayweather versus Conor McGregor. Don't tell me there was a single person in the middle for that fight. There wasn't.
No chance. I was Team McGregor.
You were
I hope Mayweather loses like completely.
Yep. That's what I'm saying. It's insane, man. So yeah, I think that's a huge part of everything is that somebody needs to be disliked for tickets to be sold.
You even saw with after Logan and KSI 2, there was talk about a 3, but it was like
no point.
Even after the 2, it was like
cared.
Guys, like the
Nobody
hatred
cared.
isn't really that serious between KSI and Logan. Like
I don't even think that. I don't think they disliked each other that much.
I don't even think they do now. But KSI and Jake, like KSI, I think genuinely doesn't like Jake Paul. So that's why I think it would like. I think KSI versus Jake, even though I think KSI would lose right now, it would sell way more than KSI and Logan did, just because there's a real hatred. I was rewatching. I've been totally like thing. I've been going back and like looking at all the YouTube stuff. I even watched the Logan and KSI press conference the other day, and like they're laughing at each other's jokes. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't really that much of a hatred.
I think it was show on the second one.
100%.
I think it was.
Second one, 100%. I think they both were like, okay, let's just make a lot of money. Completely, let's make money, because Logan knew that even the first fight kind of helped his career after all the drama. So he was like, okay, this is gonna help. This is gonna help get all that drama, the bad drama, away from me even more. So like, of course, I think he wanted to win completely, obviously. But did he really? You know what I mean? He was kind of like, also I'm just gonna make a few $1 million, and people are gonna forget about all my bad stuff. Give me my money.
I'll try. Which, in fairness to both of them, they did try. They both
100%.
tried.
It was a pretty entertaining fight.
It was
entertained.
Any fight I feel like goes to the decision is entertaining, unless it's just defensive the entire time. But they swung, dude. They both swung.
They did, and it was. I think it was a good way to end it off. Like I was like, okay.
I was content. I was content with the final. Yeah, I was.
If there's a third fight, I definitely wouldn't care as much. No chance.
Yep, I'm with you.
So okay, what about this? I have a personal story question then. Have you ever had any type of fight story in your life throughout your whole years?
Oh God, dude, I did. I've been in one. Technically, it wasn't really a fight, but it was, and I've shared this with the internet before.
I don't know if I've ever heard it. I don't think I've ever heard your fight story.
I went to a school called Marcos Deniza, and it was a rougher school, I guess you could say. And I don't know how to really describe it, but basically, God, I really don't know how to describe this. I don't want to say it the wrong way or anything at all, but basically, it was just rough. It was really, really rough, right? And it probably not as rough as other schools around the area, but compared to all the schools I was supposed to go to, it was like the non-choice. But I was told that from my club coach for soccer, he's like, hey, if you go here, you play 4 years of varsity. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever, right? Like, I started all 4 years, whatever. So freshman year of PE, there were probably 30 people in the class, right? And with going to a rough school, there's rough people in the class. Yeah. And there was a kid named Kilo. That was his name, Kilo.
That just sounds
scary. I'll never in my entire life forget this, right? And this is like the closest I've ever been to being in like a straight up fist fight. Yeah. This is terrible. But yeah, 14 years old, this kid used to just bully the crap out of everybody, right? He was only like 5'6", dude. but he was
Short man
ripped.
syndrome.
Huh? Yeah, dude. Yeah, he was a short Hispanic kid, ripped out of his mind, bro. Like ripped. Right. Keep in mind as well, we are 14 years old, and I'm showing it to the camera right now. I know you can't see it. He had "fuck you" with an exclamation point. His thumbs were the only thing not tattooed, right? "Fuck you" with an exclamation point tattooed across his knuckles. So this is what we're dealing with, yeah? So what happened was...
Is he alive?
That we're going to get there.
Okay.
So what happened was we were in flag football. This kid had been bullying kids for like 3-4 months at this point, right? Flag football comes around, and... You know, there's the like super athletic kids in the class. There's not the athletic kids, and I was on the better end of it.
Yeah.
And that's not trying to sound cocky, you know, like I wasn't the best athlete in the class, whatever. So we're playing flag football. I get the ball, and this kid fucking lays me out hard, like lays me out. Bro, we're playing flag football, dude.
Yeah.
What are you doing, bro?
Yeah,
right?
I'd be pissed.
Just a little fucking wiener syndrome, right? Comes at me. Hits the shit out of me, and I am so mad, bro.
Oh.
Like I'm like, dude, come on, man. Like I've done nothing to you, you know.
Yeah.
I've been nothing but nice to you, whatever. And he's all cheering, yada yada yada. Then next play, they throw the ball to me again. I see Kilo coming in at me, right? So I go to hurdle him, which is dumb. You know, you're 14 years old. You think you do anything you want. I go to hurdle him. I see him going down. And mid-hurdle, I turned and kicked him 2 feet in the face, bro. I absolutely just wrecked the kid in the face. And 2 people pulled us apart, right? And at the end of it, because I swear every other person cowered to this kid, right?
Yeah.
Like, PE basically got called at that point. We went inside the locker room. Kid came up to me, and I was full-on thinking I'm about to get jumped right now, right? Bro, because I kicked this kid in the face, dude, you know? Yeah. The kid puts his hand out, dude, and he shakes my hand. And he says, I got a lot of respect. And I'm like, thank God. So I shook the kid's hand from there on. Fine.
Shook the
right?
kid's hand and you're like, I gotta go change my underwear,
bro. Yeah, no, dude, I literally was about to. I full on thought I was about to get absolutely murdered, bro. So yeah, dude, shook the kid's hand, whatever, right? Next year, which he says, this kid alive. Next year, dropped out of school. He dropped out of school to the town called Guadalupe.
Oh.
It's a bit of a rougher town around here. He was selling drugs in Guadalupe. Is what I've heard. It's all like, you know, it's what I've heard. He shot and killed like 3 people that like within like the next 2 years. Was on like Arizona's like top 10 most wanted, and I would assume he's probably not alive now. Is my guess. That's honest guess.
Army kicked this guy in the face. Who's the baddest man in the world?
Bro, I'm telling you. And that's like no BS. You can ask anybody that I went to school with anything. That's what I've heard. I don't know 100% if any of it's like true, but I know I've heard from multiple people that he's like he killed and shot like 3 different people, which is absolutely terrible. And that of all people that I've decided to nearly get in a fight with, that was probably not the one.
That's respectable though. You know what I mean? Like the fact that even he respected it.
Bro, he came up and shook my hand because I was the only person that ever stood up to him.
Yeah, that's a good thing. He was probably like, oh, okay, this guy actually, you know, that's good. That's a cool story actually.
There's one. I was gonna say there's one other one. There's one other one that's really bad. I'll let you go first though.
All right, so this is grade 7. And I swear to God, I'm not even kidding, even after you said that. I swear we were playing something like flag football, okay? So my best friend is in my class, and then there's this kid. Not really a nerd, but, like, I don't know. He didn't really fit in as well, okay? And I'm going to be honest, I'm a mouthy little piece of shit.
Oh, yeah, we know.
Yeah, we know.
We know.
And we're just playing, right? And in gym class, you know, I'm not a bad athlete, so it'd be like I like to win. I get pretty competitive. Yep. And one time, me and this kid, his name is Zach, we just start going at it. Like, where I'm chirping this, just going after him, like, feeding him words. And then my best friend, out of all people, he decides to say, oh, you guys should fight.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, dude, I'm a word fighter. I don't want to fight with my fist. But this guy, like, he wasn't, like, a crazy beast or anything. So I'm like, oh, yeah, for sure. Let's do it. And I was like, I didn't want to at all. Just completely peer pressure. And the weird thing about my school at this time, this is junior high, we had like a fight club. there was multiple fights at our school, yet, I'm not even joking you, in our city, my junior high probably had like one of the highest GPAs or whatever it is. I don't know how, but like somehow
everybody just wanted to beat the shit out of each other.
Exactly. And it was like,
Weird.
I don't know why there's so many fights at this school. So, and there's like a spot, it's a designated spot, it's like by all these trees so that no teachers would see. Yeah. And I'm like, oh shit, this is like period 1, 2. So I'm like, I had another period before this, and it was like, the whole school knew, you better like beat up Zach. And I'm like, yeah, for sure. And all I'm thinking in my head, because I don't fight, I am a little brother, I've had my ass beat my whole life. Yeah. I don't have any fighting ability. And I'm like, shit. I'm like, no. All I knew to do was like WWE moves, man. I swear to God, I was thinking in my head, I'm like, do I go for like a crazy kick at the start? I'm like, I don't know I'm going to do this. Little do I know, I forgot that the kid was on the school's wrestling team.
Oh,
Swear to God, wrestling team. So here's the thing. We go out there, and back then I'm midget. I was like 5'5". I don't know. Like not a tall kid, but he wasn't tall either. So we go out, everyone's surrounding us. It starts off whatever. I think I landed one punch. And I'm not going to lie, gave him a bit of a bruise on his eye. But you know what the whole fight was?
The ground?
The ground.
Yeah.
He was just hugging me and doing all these wrestling shit. I would be sitting, I would be on the ground, and I'd be like, dude, like, what are you doing? And he tried.
It didn't even hurt. It was didn't even hurt. Like he was playing for points, dude. That's what I mean. It was, bro.
He was playing for the freaking referee's advantage. He started headbutting my shoulder or something. I was like, dude, what are you doing?
Dude.
But then, okay, we go in at one time, and this is why, like, it's the cringiest moment of my life. My friends still trip me about it because we all went to school. We're still friends. I punched him like decently. Let's keep in mind, I'm a grade 7 kid. Was like a pillow to the face. I nailed him once, and then I was like, oh, I'm done. And I don't know, like my friends acted like I won the fight, and I was like, dude, like, can we just never talk about this ever again? Just continue. Like, I've still heard about it my whole life. I don't know. It was really bad, but it was just basically, I was just like, it was a cuddle session the whole time.
Hey, in fairness, if you're not a fighter, we don't argue a cuddle session. We don't.
That's true.
That's crazy.
Fight anger with love. That's what we do over here.
Jeez. Bro, the one other one that I had, which is another one, we were drunk this time, which is so yeah, it's a situation. I feel like you would have had to have heard this, but I feel like most people have. But basically, I had a friend in college. She was like my best friend that she got pregnant and had a kid with some guy, right? The guy took the liberty of being an absolute D-bag and not basically saying like, I'm not supporting this. I'm not going to be a dad to this kid. I'm not anything, right? Like, and the worst part was I think the dude lived like 8 doors down from her, like her actual home. Like he was like in the same neighborhood, but like drove by her house every day. Had to have, right?
Yeah.
So this girl was super dope. Like she was all of our like best friends. She was always there with us, always down for a good time, whatever, right?
Like one of the boys.
Exactly. That's what she was. So she would never tell us who it was. She would never tell us where exactly he lived, all this stuff. That way none of us, ever did anything stupid, right? Yeah. Like tried to fight the guy, which rightfully so we probably all should have, dude, screw this guy, right? 100%. She's raised this kid by herself. So about, I'd say like a year and a half, 2 years in to like the kid being born, we go out to the club and I see this girl's face just go completely white.
Yeah.
And I've never seen this girl not be confident, anything at all, right?
She's seen a ghost, pretty much.
So I look at her and I'm like, he's here. And she's like, yeah, he is. Don't do anything stupid, right? And I know it's memed, bro, that I'm short and whatever, dude. I'm 5'10". Get out of my face, right? So all my friends are like 6'3", 6'4", 6'5". They're all like.
You have a big crew.
Bro, yeah, I roll around with the right people, right? So they're all like massive dudes. So I go up to all my buddies. There's like 4 of us, like excluding me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, he's here. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, dude, so-and-so, the girl, I'm not going to name her. Her baby daddy's here.
Yeah.
Be on the lookout because, like if something goes down, we got to be ready, right? Yeah. Like, God forbid, I've kicked some kid in the face, dude. I've never been in a fight in my life, and I'm telling everybody to be ready.
You kicked a convicted murderer.
Yeah, exactly,
in
right?
the face.
So I swear on my life, dude, there's about 2-3 songs that go by. 10 minutes later, I turn around and there is some dude in her face screaming at her. Screaming, dude, like in her face. Like, and I'm like, oh, shit, you know? So I'm probably like 25 feet away. I sprint across this bar, right?
Yeah.
It's packed. It's packed. It was Gringo Star was the name of this bar. Dude, I full on just fight or flight, right? Just shove the shit out of the dude, like throw him backwards. I'm like, get the fuck out of here, pussy. I yell at him. I said that to him, right? Little do I know,
he's
bro. The guy,
deep?
huh? No,
Does
not
like
rolling deep. No, he's 6'4". He stands up. Because the girl's like 5'3" that he was hunched over talking to him. So I'm like, in my head, I'm like, yeah, I ain't take this guy, right? wing him, right? I'm like, get the fuck out of here, pussy. The guy stands up. He goes, what the fuck are you going to do about it?
Oh, wrong person.
Bro, and I swear to God, I look up. I'm like,
shit.
Oh my God, dude.
Oh, God.
Like, bro, I sat there. I'm like, oh, this is not the day to be a hero. And I hear one of my buddies behind me that's the same size as him.
Oh, okay.
Right? He goes, what the fuck are you going to do about it, right? And I'm like, bro, so all of them, they all saw me run across this bar and just wing this dude, right?
Nice.
So all 4 of them are there, exact same height, probably a bit fucking bigger than he is, right? And I'm like backing up the entire time. I'm like, yeah, what are you going to do, pussy? Like to get behind
as you back away, what are you going to do, man?
Like, yeah,
what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Yelling at him and shit, dude. So get this, yeah? Bouncer comes up. He's like, what's going on? We're like, dude, this guy was going after the girl that we're with. They're like, all right, cool. Escort him out, right? Mm-hmm. And, dude, the rest of the night, bro, fucking, you tell me, shots, drinks, everybody's like, we punked that bitch ass. None of us took the liberty of talking to the girl doll because we were like, you know, like, so, like,
just completely
big dick energy.
Don't
like,
even ask her if she's okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, we did it.
We threw this dude out of the bar, right?
Yeah.
So I call the girl the next morning, yeah? And I'm like, dude, I cannot believe, you know, like we're talking, we're like, hey, you know, whatever, just like talking about the night before. And I'm like, I cannot believe that we got, you know, your baby daddy thrown out. She's like, what? And I'm like, what?
What?
She goes, the dude you got thrown out, like the guy you shoved? I'm like, yeah. She goes, that wasn't him. I'm like, what? She goes, yeah, I spilt a drink on him. I'm like, you've got to. I'm like, dude, you have to be kidding me. She spilled an entire drink on this dude's back, had a go at her, and had 4 or 5 dudes just ready to rip his head off. And it was not the guy.
But at the end of the day, like, if you're a dude screaming at a girl for...
I agree. It was a win. Like, it was a win. Yeah,
you're a bit of a D-bag, man. Like, relax. You still deserve to get freaking bodied. You know what I mean?
Dude, the thing is, we all went home thinking we were heroes.
Yeah, you guys are like, yeah, we did it, man. Yeah, let's go. Just the wrong guy.
It's so embarrassing, dude. It was so bad.
I'm literally in the last bit of my 40. I don't know where you are.
I finished mine like 5 minutes ago.
What?
Bro, I think I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. I think Old English is a little bit stronger than Mickey's is.
Oh, Mickey's is a way better beer.
Do you want me to look it up?
Mickey's is better. A way better beer.
Old English alcohol content. Let's take a look. 5.9%. Let's take a look at Mickey's alcohol content.
I chugged it. I'm done. Oh, God.
5.6, so it's a little bit better.
For me, it says 8% on this one.
I'm sure it does. All right.
Yes.
You showing the camera?
Yeah.
Bro, I'm not going to lie. From the beginning of this to the end of this, my eyes have gotten a little bit smaller. They have gotten a lot a bit smaller. Holy crap. All right, well, that was good, fun. Man. That was good. I think that was good.
I hate guys. I don't know whoever's watching this. I am sorry. We were probably all over the place. It's episode 1. Give us
our
some
very
slack.
First one.
We're going to put some slack.
It's all different clips, you know.
Yeah.
Buck Army and Zoo talk about KSI. We talk about, you know, the fight, all that stuff. So if you guys have enjoyed, just leave a like. If there's any topic you guys want us to talk about, or if there's any alcohol that you suggest that we drink on the next episode.
Yeah, for sure. You guys, we want to have one thing, fan interaction. You guys can control a lot of things, whether it's the beer, topics, blah, blah, blah. Don't be shy. Comment anything. We would love to see anything.
We'll talk about it all. We'll figure it out. We'll figure out the days to do all this stuff too. So
I've
had fun, dude. That was an hour and 20 minutes, and that flew, bro.
It flew. I was just gonna say, you guys, whoever's watching, if you made it past this point, drop your legit predictions for tomorrow. Ben Askren, Jake Paul.
Yep.
We're gonna be watching. Everyone's gonna be watching, and we'll for sure drop a post
reaction.
We'll do a
reaction
reaction.
video. Yeah.
Whatever happens in the fight, like we're gonna be talking about it. So drop your predictions and let's just see. I don't know. I haven't really heard much. I would love to see there's a lot of different perspectives, I think, on this fight. So
there are a ton. So yeah, we'd love to hear all of them.
Yeah.
All right, make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you next Friday with another
boys.
40.
Peace.
See ya.